I always tell the story that I never slept on November 8th.
The scene here is so different than a few hours ago.
What started off as impossible is now reality.
But I sure as hell woke up on November 9th.
It might not have been a glass ceiling that shattered, but something exploded.
Powerful men have existed inside what seemed like a perfectly protected bubble.
I am sick and tired of a Congress made up of this old boys club. It's not okay.
We deserve better.
There's a record number of women getting into politics.
Nearly 2/3 are seeking office for the first time.
Seeing a surge of women.
This huge surge of women.
What's behind the surge of women?
There are just so many elected positions in this country where a woman has never served, where a woman of color has never served.
It's the right race, it's the right time, and I'm the right candidate.
I had to run. I had to do it.
Women are now the most important political force in the United States of America.
Hi, Liz Watson, running for United States Congress. We see these kind of attempts to roll women's rights back to the Stone Age. And it's not just women's rights, it's all civil rights that are under attack. Good. No, in Indiana, women still earn 74 cents on the dollar. Black women, 64 cents. Latinas, 54 cents on the dollar paid to men.
All right, ready?
You know, these are things that we can change. These are things that we can fix.
Good morning, everyone. It's Lauren Underwood. We are here in Naperville.
Hi. This is
Lauren Underwood. I just wanted to remind you to vote. I'm Lauren Underwood. I'm licensed as a nurse. I've spent my career working to expand healthcare coverage in communities across our country. I'm Lauren Underwood. Nice to meet you. When the 2016 election happened, I was faced with this America on TV that didn't look anything like what I knew.
My grandfather was an immigrant. I felt that I had to stand up and do something. I'm an unlikely candidate. I'm running in a district that almost no one believes is winnable. So here I am.
Each time we see more women running for office, it changes our image of who leaders are.
I think it's important for my daughter to see women can run, and hopefully she'll see that women can win.
But these women are running in really uphill battles.
In a district that's never elected a woman, being a young millennial woman of color is certainly a lot for some people.
People love you or hate you based on nothing.
I'm different from a lot of candidates. I'm a labor candidate, but because I'm a woman, like sometimes that gets obscured.
It's a personal beating every single day. It is an absolute beating.
I've given up everything to do this.
Do you ever have any doubts?
No.
Primary voters head to the polls today in 4 states.
What will the results of the midterm elections be?
Don't cry, Mom. I love you. No one invited us to this table.
I'm so proud of you.
No one. And I think that's also what makes it so powerful.
This land is your land.
Have you been able to make it out to the polls today to vote?
Calling to remind you that today is primary day.
I see women waking up like I've never seen them awakened before.
I don't see red, blue, or purple. All I see is opportunity.
If somebody had told me 3 years ago I'd be running for U.S. Congress, I would have told them they were on drugs.
I'm winning.
It's really important women realize we have to do this for ourselves.
This is the year of the woman. How many of y'all have heard that?
Why shouldn't you run? Why haven't you run yet?
I want this to be more than a year. This land is your land.
You made history tonight.
Tonight, I stand before you as this community's first Congresswoman elect.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Megan, Finn. Welcome to another Fast and Furious FNF CyberTank Variety Show Action Hour. And we're so excited today because you just saw the trailer for the really amazing documentary Surge. And today we have a very special guest, Hannah Rosenzweig, who's the director and producer of the film, who's going to talk to us more about it. So welcome, Hannah. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm well. We're so grateful for you joining us today. And yeah, it's Yeah, thank you for being here with us. Everybody just got to see the trailer for this incredible film. I got to check it out last night, and it's just so it's so inspiring and so timely, and just wanting to know, what made you you and your partners start to think this is what we want to make a film about?
Well, we were both, as many of us were, completely devastated by the results of the 2016 election. And I got involved with the Women's March as a national organizer for the Washington, D.C., the main march, and I was producing media for it. And she's a journalist and was writing articles. And after the march, just in the day or two after the march, we were starting to see that there were all these women. Not only had they marched, and it was the single largest day of protest in this country's history, but they were deciding to run for office by the hundreds. I mean, all over the country. And so we thought this was such a great story and such an important story. And so we decided to make Surge. And the focus of Surge is really on first-time candidates. So it's those women who, after the election and the Women's March, were so motivated that they left their old lives behind and were just like, oh my God, I've got to jump in. And, if it's not Hillary, it's got to be me. A lot of times people woke up and saw who was representing them in different places in the country and were like, oh, this person actually doesn't represent my values or the policies that I want. And they sort of were like, well, I guess I'm going to have to do it. So it was a real moment of like mass community activism, not only people running for office, but people working on campaigns, people, doing the kind of activism that you do, that you got involved with. So that's kind of the beginning. And then from there, the rest is history.
So the film is really, really following three candidates: Jana Lynn Sanchez running in Texas, Liz Watson in Indiana, and Lauren Underwood in Illinois. And the thing that really struck me watching it, and the thing that I think you all captured so well, was, we tend to focus on these large races, right, that are happening, presidential election that have a lot of production value, right? There's like, when we're seeing the candidates, it's often in a studio or on a stage, with fanfare and flags and all of that. And really, I think what's compelling about the film is that you're really seeing how small these campaigns really are. I mean, they're built with by individual people who just believe in this person and drive around to tiny towns, and meet people and talk to them about what they really need in their lives, and then take that with them when they go to Washington. So I'm wondering, like, how, when you were putting collaborators together and you've really a couple of incredible cinematographers, what was the experience like, kind of embedded with these campaigns?
Mm-hmm. It was wonderful. I mean, Wendy and I talk about how we were consistently so impressed. Should I just be looking right at you?
Sure. You look great.
Okay.
Great.
No, I just
look at you.
It's different than Zoom. I've been spending so much time on Zoom, and I realize with Zoom, So we were consistently just so impressed by these three women and their passion and their drive. And they really were building their campaigns from the ground up and sort of constantly, dealing with challenges. And, Lauren talks about how she, had staffing issues. It was hard for her to find the right combination of staff people, and her staff there was a lot of turnover. And they all talked about how hard raising the money is. That's in the film, which I hope all of the viewers get to watch. It's coming out on Amazon tomorrow. It's been streamed. We had our premiere on, just on the side, we had our premiere on Showtime, and then it's going to be on Amazon starting tomorrow, which is great because it has a wider audience. But, it was really just, I think there were initially a lot of challenges in getting, the women to be okay with having a camera around, to feel like they could continue on with their days without having to kind of completely upend everything. Which, if you're not used to having a camera around, it can be a little bit distracting. But I think it took a little while for them to also realize that we were completely on their team, and we just absolutely wanted to document their journeys for this and share their stories, and that we felt like it was so important. So slowly they started to relax, and we were able to get the footage that we needed. Jana from the beginning was the most open, and you probably can tell from the film, she was just kind of like, whatever, and come with me anywhere, and would say anything. So it definitely, I have experience with candidates and working on campaigns.
Sure. You were in 2008, you were a videographer for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, for Hillary Clinton. And then I've worked on other campaigns, doing videos and media stuff. And so it's always kind of a dance, and it's a very chaotic situation often. And you just kind of have to be flexible and ready to, do whatever, document and go along with whatever happens.
Well, it's really compelling too, because I think just it's very authentic, and I think that's something that in politics, particularly women candidates are up against always, because there's this push-pull of being themselves or representing themselves. There's more scrutiny for them, and so it was really to see them compassionately and kind of just intimately portrayed, I think, is a really unique thing about the film.
I just wanted to say something about that just to kind of comment on both of your questions there. It was really important to show that it's hard to run a campaign, it's challenging, but that people can do it, and that these first-time candidates were able to figure it out, and so can many other people. And we wanted to show that there are so many candidates and campaigns out there that are run by real people, that are run by authentic people doing it for the right reasons, and you don't often get to see that. And I feel that that's extremely important right now, where we're sort of bombarded with either these, as you said, these like really high profile campaigns, or all the negativity. And the seem, people doing it for ego. But there are so many people, women and men and everything in between running because they really want to make change in their communities.
Right. And when you watch it, you realize it's not a glamorous thing to do. By any means. You see them driving around in their cars to neighborhoods to knock on doors to, it's grueling work, and they really dedicated themselves to it. I'm wondering and I think that, it's a wonderful thing as well to have it released so soon before this next election. No spoilers, watch the movie it's a quick Google to find out who wins and loses, but go ahead if they're not your Congress people. But go ahead and watch the film, because I think it's really fantastic. But leading up to this next election, what are things that are coming? What are actions that are happening around the film? Candidates, and also these candidates running in these districts where they were really were paving the way for this election, whether they won or lost.
100%.
So they were running in unwinnable districts, essentially, and brought a bunch of voters to the electorate who had maybe been sitting out for decades, or hadn't had the opportunity to vote previously. So yeah, what's happening around the film, and and what are the actions that are happening around it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to share so many exciting things. But just to note, one of the important, we really wanted to kind of reframe loss in the film and show that, and actually there's a quote that we had at an event last week that somebody said, I lost, but I really won, right? Because when you are trying to flip a red district to blue, like our 3 were, in these districts where a Democrat hadn't run in a really long time, especially in Jana's Texas district and in the Indiana district, the 9th congressional district in Indiana, they just, there wasn't a lot of infrastructure. So in the time of our women's campaigns, they built this whole infrastructure that involved activating voters and activating volunteers. And that still exists, right? Even though, not everybody won their election. I'm not going to give it away, because one of the things we wanted to do with the film is make it like a real political film where you kind of are rooting for all of them, and that you're not sure, are they going to win, are they going to lose? So I won't give it away, but those campaigns are, the work that they did really survives the election, and the loss, and obviously the wins that we had. Right, all fall. So the film premiered on September 8th, and we have been taking the film everywhere, virtually, of course, to use the film as a get out the vote tool. We've been having events with activist groups where we show the film, and then we have a panel, we have a discussion with current candidates, with us, with, various political leaders and experts, and then people make phone calls, people do letter writing. We're a part of various fundraisers for different candidates. We did an event with Women for Biden. We did an event with the NYU Voter Education Week, to really use the film as a way to get engaged, because it is so inspiring, and you're seeing just this, people say, oh wow, I'm watching it and now I'm like gonna go do something. So that's awesome, and we really want to use that tool. So we did a bunch of different a lot of different women's organizations. We've been showing it, and then saying, okay, everyone, then go, whether you want to do calls, texts, letter writing, other kinds of volunteering for campaigns that you can do virtually. So that's, and also supporting candidates. I really think it's important to find candidates that you like, and if you don't have a lot of money, it's give $10, give something if you can. If you can't, you can't. But these, especially the smaller campaigns, really need support.
Yeah, and that's really clear, so clear, as you said in the film, just how much support they need and what they're up against when another candidate has millions to blow. Well, it's so nice to get to talk to you and share this film with everyone. I hope that everyone will check out the film. So people can find it on Amazon starting tomorrow?
It's going to be on Amazon Rental.
Great.
You can rent it on Amazon, which is really exciting. You can also still find it on Showtime. We were airing all September and a lot of October, but I think at this point it's mostly just on the streaming on the app, the Showtime Anytime app. And yeah, we're excited about Amazon, because a lot of people don't have Showtime, even though if you want to watch it on Showtime, you can always get a free trial. That's what I tell people. But Amazon is, accessible to everyone, and just search for Surge. Also follow us on social media. Is there a chat I can put it in?
Yeah, we'll put it up. You know what? We'll put these up. Colin will throw them up. It's surgethemovie, right? .com.
Yep. And then I'm at Hannah Docs, at Hannah Docs, and the film is at Surge the Movie.
We'll throw those up on the screen.
And we're constantly, also another way you can see it is we're constantly showing it in various ways. We're doing, oh, thank you. This is so cool. I see it. There's it's going.
Yeah, you also have a Facebook page, so people can.
Yep, also at the movie. So that's for Instagram and Twitter, and then we have a Facebook page. So we're constantly posting about our screenings as well. So that's another way to see the film. A lot of these are free. All the events are free pretty much.
So check out the movie. See who you can support, whose work you can support, whose campaigns you can hint behind Hannah's campaigns you can support, And please check out Surge. And Hannah, thank you so much for making the time today. We're so grateful.
Sure. Can I just say one more thing?
Oh, please.
I think, I was just going to say that, in these last 2 weeks, I feel like the focus should be, I was talking to my partner about this, should be on the swing states, right? The states where, if you wanted to do calls or texts or, I think it's really calling and texting, that's where we need to completely focus our energies. Also voting, right? Don't forget the voting plan. I really believe in, as Michelle Obama talks about, making your plan and then get your comfortable shoes on if you're going to vote in person. I really, if you can vote in person, that I think is the ideal, whether voting early or on election day, but and then she talks about like bringing water, bringing a snack, bringing your lunch and your dinner.
You might be in line for a long time.
So just expecting it to potentially be challenging and but to do it anyway. So that's a big message where we want to leave people with.
Great. Well, thank you again, Hannah. And you heard it. Sign up for a phone bank. Sign up for a text bank.
Yay.
So thanks so much.
Everyone. Thanks for all your work.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye for now. Oh, that was so great. So that was Hannah Rosenzweig, and the film is Surge. You can check it out by visiting the website down there, or go see it's going to be on Amazon tomorrow, or it's running on Showtime right now. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining. And I'm going to talk about a couple things. What else is happening here? So this is all part of FNF Countdown, and that is the 4-year anniversary of our Fast and Furious series, which started in 2016 by creating a space where artists could share short form works and in response to current events. So we, in anticipation of the election and also to celebrate the 4-year anniversary, are doing political programming throughout the month. And we're also spending these hours talking to artists and activists out there doing work that has a political focus. Also, it is not too late. It is not too late, Colin, is it? It is not too late to submit to FNF, which is going to be coming up on November 3rd. If you have a short form piece that you would like to do as part of Fast and Furious on the evening of the election, whether live or pre-recorded, for debut on FNF, you may do so. Colin will be our friend and put the info that you need, the link to submissions as well here, because Colin is the greatest. And you can submit your piece. Oh my gosh, it's just email Kev. It's as easy as that. If you have a short form piece that you want to do on the CyberTanks for FNF coming up November 3rd, it is not too late to submit. Just email Kev there. Please join us. It's going to be a wonderful release on a crazy night of election times. And just for fun, I was talking to Colin pre-show, and Colin is going to be working this election as a poll worker. So I thought maybe we would just talk to Colin for a couple minutes about that. So welcome, Colin.
Hey, Megan, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. I'm going to pop some earbuds in here real quick because I was not prepared for this.
I'm putting Colin on the spot. So Colin, you signed up to be a poll judge? Is that an election judge?
I think the term in New York is poll worker. I also did them from Minnesota, and they call it election judge out there. So
okay, so you've done this before? You did this in Minnesota?
I did this in Minnesota. They allowed high schoolers to be student election judges as young as like 17, I think. So I did it as soon as I was able to. I think, election judge was the first job I ever had.
Wow. So tell us about what being an election judge was like in Minnesota.
I mean, much the same, if a little better organized. Minnesota's Board of Elections and Secretary of State and that whole system is really well organized. Minnesota is also one of the states that, for instance, allows no excuse absentee voting. I know absentee voting here in New York has expanded significantly this year with COVID, but in Minnesota, as of recently, you can just in New York, you still have to say, oh, I can't come in because of COVID, which is super valid. But in Minnesota, you don't have to have any excuse. You can just say, send me my ballot, let's go. They've been early voting there in person since the first week of October, I think. And there's also same-day voter registration as well, which is absolutely something that New York needs.
Fantastic. So anyone watching this, finding this, who might know you from Minnesota, maybe has knows the tank, sees this on the Facebook, suddenly realizes for some reason they were not registered to vote, they can go register to vote in Minnesota.
Exactly. And that is unfortunately not true in New York State, which is a huge bummer.
Yeah, it's a huge bummer. Did you have you ever made, well, no, let's talk about that in a second. So talk to me. So now you're graduating from poll judge,
election judge, yeah,
to a poll worker.
A poll worker
in New York. Do you know, you probably can't tell us where you're going to be, or maybe you can, or I don't know.
I can only not tell you because I don't know yet.
Okay, it's not private information.
Not private information.
Any of the 4 people who turned, no, I'm just kidding. Anyone who tuned in last time, we had lots of viewers the last show, tons. And what we were talking, I was talking about how this is a really great use of your theater skills, because in the theater you work in the box office, so you have to check people in, and that's essentially part of your job, right? As a poll worker, you help people sign in.
Service, yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
And people come in. I mean, I know I do. I voted, I don't even know how many times, but when I walk in, I'm like, what, what table do I go to? It's overwhelming, so you're the one that's going to help people this year.
Ideally, yeah. I don't know exactly what role they're going to put me at, and sometimes as poll workers, we flip around throughout the days. Some people are at that first table where you can check that you're in the right place, and some people are guarding the doors to make sure that people aren't coming in who are actually supposed to be at a different poll location. And some people are at the scanners, and some people are at the ballot marking device machine. And ideally, it's a 16-hour day. You have to be there at 5 in the morning, and you don't leave until everything is reconciled. Polls close at 9, so the earliest you can conceivably leave is like 9:45 at night. This is a presidential election year, and it's gonna be a big turnout presidential election year, I'm expecting. So this is gonna be a 16 and a half, 17-hour day.
So this is like not even as bad as when we would do late night comedy shows.
So it certainly doesn't, I don't expect it to go as late as our late night comedy shows. But I've never had to be at the tank at 5 in the morning. That's
true. Well, we had that one 24-hour festival, but.
Oh, I have been at the tank at 5 in the morning. You're right. Good Lord. Oh, I forgot about that.
So this year you're a younger person. And there's a lot of younger people signing up to be poll workers, right? This year because of COVID.
I was at the training. They said last year, 2 years ago or something, when they were doing the poll working training, the average poll worker age was around 70. And now anecdotally, it was more in the 40 range.
Wow. So it's coming down because people are working. You're getting some payment.
Minimum wage. That's right.
Minimum wage. Well, listen, minimum wage matters right now. People might be interested in that. So yeah, you could get paid to be a poll worker. We think it's not too late. We're not sure entirely.
Yeah, not certain about that. But if you are interested, you can head on over to what is the URL? nyc.electiondayworker.com. I can put up a banner for that here.
Right, we'll put up a banner for that. Colin, I won't bother you on election day because I imagine you'll be wearing a mask in a gymnasium somewhere for 16 hours. So you're free to do your democratic duties. But yeah, go ahead and if folks are interested, go check it out and see how you can help. So thanks for chatting about this, Colin.
Yeah, two other voting things. Number one is that early voting starts this Saturday, I believe, the 24th. And it is running every day until the 1st. So then there's a day that Monday the 2nd. There's no voting anywhere, and then regular election day is November 3rd. So swing through for that. I think especially if you are free on the weekdays between the 26th and the 30th, and especially in the afternoons, that's when I'm thinking it's likely going to be the least busy in general. So if you are really interested in voting in person, your early voting location is going to be different probably than your regular polling location. You can find all of that out at the New York Board of Elections website. You can just enter your address and figure out where you should be voting. The other thing is that the Board of Elections did send everybody a piece of mail a couple weeks back that included a little card that looks something like this in it. It has your address on it and it has a barcode on it. And so this is a fun new thing they're doing this year. And so what you can do is you can take that card in with you and show it to the poll worker. They'll put it under the iPad, scan that barcode, and it's just a way to save you and also everyone in line behind you some time at the poll, so the poll workers don't have to type in on the iPad your name and find it manually.
That's really helpful. Yeah, I didn't know what to do with that card. That card came and I was like, what is this card?
It's not very clear.
And when you throw it down, don't flick it at the person because they're going to be wearing a mask for 16 hours. Just hand it to them gently. I know you're going to feel really cool when you're throwing your voter card at them, but yeah, exactly. Just hand it to them.
Oh, and new this year too, they don't want people sharing pens, I guess, when you're voting. So everyone's going to get a free pen this year that's going to double as a stylus on the other end.
So look at that. If you are thinking about not voting, free pens.
Free pens. It's just like the M&T Bank or the Blink Fitness or whatever.
M&T Bank does not have free pens.
You're right. I don't know why I would.
It's TD Bank, but not M&T.
That's what it is.
M&T is our bank. Oh, M&T. So great. Well, Colin, thanks for this. Yes, if you haven't made a plan yet, if you think you've been bothering your friends and family in swing states, but you're in a non-swing state like New York and you haven't made a plan, it's hubris. It's hubris that has been keeping you from making your plan. Go and look up where you're going to vote. Vote early if you can. Bring your card, get in there, get out of there, keep everyone safe, wear a mask, bring some water and snacks, and and vote. Great. Well, thank you, Colin.
Thank you for surprising me with this.
Yes, it's good. So you can go right down there to find your poll site. I'll wait. We'll wait. We'll leave it up there so you can type it in the old URL bar. So a couple of plugs before we go. A couple of shows we have coming up as part of the FNF countdown. This Friday night, we have Our Invention of Tragedy, which is a wild variety show put together by the cast of Mac Wellman's Invention of Tragedy that was at the Flea last year that I directed. I'm really so stoked. The whole cast has gotten together and done a really amazing show, really about life in quarantine and their friendships from that show that have sustained them. And that's coming up. Our Invention of Tragedy is coming up on Friday. You can, we'll throw the URL for our website, but it's www.thetanknyc.org. Also, this Saturday, we have a very special episode of Andrea Coleman's Whacker Woke Laws. Andrea Coleman judges the law. Andrea is a tank regular, so if you've seen anything virtually, you'll see Andrea. She hosted our gala. She's awesome. Anyway, she's doing a special edition of Woke Laws that is focused on the Supreme Court. If you've seen Woke Laws before, Andrea always is talking about how there needs to be Black women judges on the Supreme Court. And now she's going to be talking about the Supreme Court hearings that have been happening. and talking to some judges and comedians as per usual. So check it out on Saturday. And we have all of our CyberTank programming up on the old calendar. So and also, yes, thank you, Colin. We have a very special little simple URL there. If you haven't seen Woke Laws and you would love to see it before Saturday, you can check out an older episode that was filmed at the Tank last December by visiting this little URL. It's still up on All Arts House Seats, which is their series where they showcase New York-based performances, and you can check out another episode of Woke Laws, which is highly enjoyable. Comedy, law, the Tank. It's like, I love that episode because it's like a night at the Tank. So when I'm feeling sad and crestfallen about missing the Tank, it's a special episode. Well, I'm Megan Finn, and this has been our CyberTank Variety Show Action Hour. And we will see you again next week. And thank you for tuning in. So peace and love, and vote.